Yes, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Everybody, this is Clifton Raheem Bradley in Chicago, and David Koss, uh, contributor, and he's a help. And you know what? Actually, this is it. Really his show. You know what I'm saying? This is really his show. But he's kind enough. He's kind enough to say, you know what, man? Leave it Underground Railroad television show. One day you're gonna tell me, hey, man, change the name, man.
No, no. I'll say keep the name forever. This is a great show. It's been with us a long time, Clifton.
Alhamdulillah, 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 Alhamdulillah. Man, you know what? I think that we're not online. Oh, we are online on YouTube. Okay.
Good.
I was wrong. You know what? See, that's the echo you hear in the background. So, David, tell us, brother, tell us who you are. Because you know what? There's millions of people, millions, that it appears as though it's going to be millions of people that go to your YouTube platform and join his YouTube platform, man, your Facebook platform. So tell us who you are.
Well, I'm your next president. I could be. I could be just like anybody could be that wants to be, that has a good idea of how to fix all the problems we got. These problems just keep building and keep mounting up, and nobody's fixing anything anymore. So
yeah.
I did run for president this last time, but I'm here to deliver a message to the people like you are, Clifton. And that message today is about the approaching asteroid, UN 281, is it? And we're here to warn people about that. We're here to warn people about the possible 70-degree flip that's coming. This is going to wash them all away if they're on the coast. If they got no food or no water stored up, it's going to be real hard for them to survive. So we're here to break the news on a few things.
Well, can we let them see your video about the information that you got? Let's see the information about that he has.
Hannity, Carlson, Judge Piero, listen up. All coastal areas will be flooded by tidal surge this November. Time to move inland, if in LA. Vegas is a start. Increased UV effect beginning to be felt. The Nemesis Nibiru system, totaling 12 planets, begins its passing this July. Get food and water stored now for yourselves and your loved ones. Many group sightings are now taking place. These are friendly visitors from the Federation here now to help. My contact Joseph extends his greetings to you all. He has informed me that 5 states will be gone by this fall. Guess which one? Once again, for those listening, all coasts will be flooded during the 70-degree rotation. The time to move inland is now. I am David Koss. Tune in and turn on to the truth. There really is much more coming your way soon. Thank you.
Okay, that was David Koss. And you know what? Is there anything you would like to add to that information? Because you know, I think what we're gonna have to start doing, maybe when we start the show, maybe we'll start it like that. But you gotta let me know.
Well, this right here is the essence of life. And this right here is what we all need to start thinking about a little bit more and more each day as we get closer and closer to this coming catastrophe or coming event, so to speak. And I would suggest that everybody get out those water jugs and start filling them up and storing them in their closets for a time just around the corner. We may have some problem getting fresh water for a little bit. So that's one of the things that's going to be real important that nobody even considers nowadays. But where do you get your food? Where are you going to get your food from if it all runs out for 6 months? It's going to get hard. It can get tough. It's going to bring people together, though. It's going to bring all races and colors and ages together, and they're going to quit all this shooting and killing and stealing. For what reason, I don't have any idea, Clifton, but they're going to quit doing that because it's not going to be worth anything anymore. Food and water is going to be the essence of life for a while here. So that's what we need to focus on, and that's kind of why we're here today.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know what though, David? What's happening is, about food and water and all that, something is going on. You said you wanted to talk about the news, but if you wanted to expound on, keep on talking about that, go on ahead.
Well, I wanted to talk about the approaching comet, asteroid, meteorite, whatever you want to call it, the UN 271, 62 miles wide. It's 62 miles wide. It's from the Oort cloud, and they say it's about 4,300,000,000 miles out right now, but it's moving fast. So the big hype at the moment is it's supposed to hit the Earth, and I don't think it's going to hit the Earth because Joseph told me there's a big one coming. It's going to hit the moon. So that's what I'm a little bit hesitant about. But Nostradamus even predicts in quatrains that the moon falls upon the Pope's head, and I've always laughed at that line. I thought, oh my God, you got to be kidding!
What is it? What is it? A metaphor? It's a metaphor. Is that it?
No, it's a line. It's a line in his quatrains. This was a little pamphlet or book that he wrote from his looking into a bowl of water at night. You see the candle reflection. He'd see visions in there. So he wrote this in there. One night he saw the moon falls upon the Pope's head, he wrote. And I thought to myself when I read that about 30 years ago, I thought, you got to have been drinking some crazy brew to see things like that. Just to have a vision like that, But supposedly, according to Joseph, my contact, he says that an asteroid is going to impact our moon and crack off a piece of it. It's going to fall over Rome, Italy this fall. So you saw that crop circle I had with that big picture of the sun, the moon, and that little asteroid hit it. So that's what I think is going to happen. And I think we all need to prepare for this because like I say, it's going to cause a little incursion. And besides that, Joseph told me the planet's going to flip 70 degrees, and that's going to cause 80% of our oil refineries that take the oil off the barges and refine it into gasoline, they're going to get washed away. They're all on the coasts. So we're only going to have 20% of our oil refineries even working. So all that fuel is going to have to go to the trucks to transport the groceries around and to do the farm work to raise the crops. So we're not going to have any gasoline at our gas stations for a while. So everybody's got to, realize that this is going to happen and it's coming soon. It's not too far off.
And you know what, man? I mean, if you would have, so basically, that's going to happen if you don't join the Federation. Is that going to happen? If you don't join the Federation, that's going to happen.
Well, it's going to happen if we join the Federation or not. But the Federation can make things good for us real quick if we do, join the Federation. They're here to help us from the start anyway, but it's up to us to take a vote whether we want to, join up with their group of peaceful planets or not. Now, I never liked all the war going on here anyway.
Now, you know something, man, you know what, things that you're saying are just coming to fruition. It's coming to reality because NASA, they just showed information of a video, and they said it is possibly a UFO, and it appeared to be a UFO. But I think that they have been covering things up like that for years. And out there really UFOs, and why are they covering it up? Like in Roswell, why are they covering some things like that up, man?
Well, like we talked about on the last show, the green grays that started out as gold silvers a long time ago, They came here about the 1800s, and they got in with the Bauer family over in Europe and had them change their name to Rothschild, and they own the IMF banking system. So the Green Grays have been, running the show here from underground for a long time. But recently there's been a debate about whether they're even here. You see little pictures of them in flying saucers and whatnot. But the trouble is they've been doing the cattle mutilations and now taking our children, to drain their pineal glands, a hormonal extract to take orally as a stimulant for their race. And now they're even giving it to the pharmaceutical companies to sell to doctors to give to their high-paying clients. So it's gotten like a bad movie here. Everything in reality has got like a bad movie. So much killing and bloodshed on the streets nowadays, and our government isn't protecting us. They're letting all the immigrants in, and they're raising our taxes and cutting off our gas supplies and everything else. So it's like the people have got to realize what's really going on here, and then we can change it. We can make it all peaceful again and nice, and grow plenty of food and have plenty of clean water if we join the Federation and get our acts together. But we can't go on like this too much longer, Clifton. No, we really can't.
No, man. Now, man, you said you wanted to touch on immigration and about the borders. And what I want to ask you about immigration, with all due respect to people that are a different nationality, or they come from South America, or Mexico, or Venezuela, that are fleeing the tyranny of countries like Colombia and all that. Do you think that that's fair that they be able to come to the country and sneak across the borders with no repercussions whatsoever? I said they follow a process to come to the country because they're coming from horrible conditions.
Well, because they're coming from horrible conditions, I let anybody in my house. But we have an organized system at the moment, and they're doing it the wrong way. But if you live in Illinois and you want to move to Iowa or to my state, I would welcome you, Clifton, any day of the week. Or if you were from California and you wanted to move back to the Midwest and get a job on some of the farms there and go to work, we would welcome you into the state of Iowa from California. So why wouldn't we welcome people from Venezuela or Costa Rica or Brazil if they wanted to come to Illinois or Iowa, to work and raise their families and set up a house? It shouldn't make any difference where you're from. The trick at the moment is the problems that the people are coming in with, being driven out of their countries, having nothing to eat down there, and the situation getting so bad on the government level that they have to leave. So it's the governments that are driving the people out of their homes and away from the lands that they love, everywhere they're at.
Well, let me ask you the question in a different way. Do you think that they have the right to sneak into the country or should they follow the process? But I add that they are coming from they could be coming from horrible countries where the cartel or the drug dealers run the country. Should they be able to sneak in, or should they follow the process? That's what I would like to ask you.
I really can't tell you. The best way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. So if you can go straight line, that's the best way, the easiest way. But if you can't, you might have to go up, down, all around and do circles for a while before you can get in.
So it's justifiable to sneak in and come in illegally, in your opinion.
Well, if it's what you want, and it's the only thing you want in life is to get into this country, to survive, and to make a decent living, then yeah, I guess it would be number one thing on your on your priority list, and those people's list is to get into this country. I saw a picture yesterday where they had hundreds of them sitting under a freeway bridge to get out of the sun, and there's traffic driving over it. There, it's all cordoned off. I don't know where it's at down in Texas, but there's hundreds of them, just women and children, all sitting under the bridge just to protect themselves from the sunlight in the afternoon. So they're doing what they have to do, but I believe that they got good heart in them, just like everybody does. They want the best.
So it's okay to sneak into I got you. So it's okay to sneak into because you're saying it is okay to sneak into the country if that's what you want to do. I guess I'm trying to get you to take a position, but you appear to be saying there's no right and no wrong. That's what you appear to be saying. But if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying, please correct me.
Well, I always like to remember what Jesus said to the people that had the little gold coin. And he said, "Give to Caesar what's Caesar's, and give to God what's God's." Mm-hmm. So in this situation, I would say these people aren't impinging upon us and aren't trying to do us any harm. They don't have any weapons in their hands, and they're women and children, most of them. So no, that's not a bad thing, and it's a good thing. We should welcome them in. But the cartels that are handling the people coming up here, and the drug dealers and the MS-13, those are all the bad guys. Those are the ones we should be taking out with a shotgun and shooting. Today, so we got the bad and the good.
Okay, but now when you made a statement that there's no bad and there's no good, but MS-13 and other gang members and people undesirables could come into the country, but you're saying there's no good and there's no bad, and I'm trying to configure.
Well, I don't mean that there's no good or there's no bad. That's our choice whether we do good or do bad. Mm-hmm. So if you choose to join the MS-13 and get a big old tattoo on your head that says 13 up here, that's a bad thing.
So in essence, what you're saying is there should be open borders where anybody should be able to come into the country. If you're saying there's no good and there's no bad, there should be open borders where anybody could come in. Anybody. It doesn't make any difference whether, because if you're saying open borders, that means there would be undesirables that will come in. So I'm trying to understand, and the audience want to understand.
Well, to find undesirables in your own country or outside of your country, it's always been a fact. You can find those anywhere you go. Mm-hmm. But to categorize people into an undesirable group or tell people you can't come into a country because of this, that, or the other reason seems kind of silly to me. You should allow people to come in and then watch them. And if they do something wrong, you snatch them right off the street and imprison them or put them to death, whether they're from this country or not.
Well, let me ask you something now. What is the difference between what Donald Trump said, who was the president of the United States, we do not want you coming to the United States, and Kamala Harris, who was the Democratic vice president, saying, stay where you are. Don't come to the United States of America. What is the difference?
Well, our politicians can say things which don't really hold a lot of essence to it. We know, you and I know, that if we allow immigrants in this country, they automatically get Medicaid. They automatically get Social Security numbers. And that means that we're going to pay them back the money they put into the system, whatever age they're at right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to start taking care of them. So that's part of the whole thing that's set up now that we had nothing to do with. We have Medicaid, we have Social Security, we have free everything's through the Catholic foundations and
is it free? Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not free. It's going to cost these people something to get it free, given to them. But I'm just saying, our system is set up at the moment to kind of suck in everybody that wants to come in, and then get them to pay the taxes, and then they can go to the football games, they can drink the alcohol, they can go to the doctors and get prescribed drugs and knock them out. They can do anything they want to kill themselves, but that's once they're in the country. But just as long as they're paying taxes now. So this country isn't a great place to be. I wish I could tell all the people that are coming up here from South America that you don't want to be here. It's not going to be fun for you. But we can't tell them that. You can't tell somebody that they can't come in until they come in and see for themselves.
Well, what I'm saying is, going back to what I originally said, what is the difference? Whereas Donald Trump said the same thing and Kamala Harris is saying the same thing. What is the difference between Donald Trump's policies and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's policies when it comes to immigration? What is
I believe Donald Trump was being advised by our Pentagon, by the patriots there, as far as what to say and what not to say, what to do and what not to do, and where to hold the line, like with China and with the Soviets and with the flood of immigrants coming from South America. He had to hold the line and build the wall and instigate certain policies, all done with our military. But now Biden is not. Biden is not doing things in step with our military. He's doing everything counter to what Trump had achieved in his 4 years. So I think it's a big scam anyway. I don't think Donald Trump got elected by the people because the Diebold machines were being used. Just like this last time, the Dominion machines are what got Joe Biden elected, and they're not even from this country. The company isn't. So,
Can you explain what Dominion? Because there's a segment of people that's listening to us that do not know what Dominion machines are.
Well, Dominion machines are just a computerized copy of the Diebold machines. They're from outside the country. And they're used in different nations' elections, and they are primarily used to overthrow the population's vote. So whoever can get elected wherever the power structure wants them to be. So that's what's happened in this country for several elections, and we've been duped. We've all been duped into thinking it's a fair election and this was the fair count, but that isn't what happened, and we've all been duped. So I actually have heard that Joe Biden is not in the White House, and he hasn't been allowed in the White House since the election day. So it's been a military lockdown there, and what we see on the television set and what the reporters report to us, even Fox News reporters, are not telling us the truth, and they're not telling us what's going on. So I've been kind of waiting patiently and to see what happens, but it's a slow process. And I almost think the planets are going to come over our heads before anything really happens in DC.
Yes. And Kevin, I want to thank you in the chat room. There's something down there. He said, yes, know about the Dominion. The Dominion. I guess he's talking about the Dominion machines. Man, I've been trying to get Kevin on the show because he don't want to be bothered with it.
Oh my God. Well,
he's a good
people
guy.
do have questions. People do have questions, and it does take a little gumption to get on this program with you, Clifton. I have to say, I wouldn't be here unless I had something to add to it myself. But there really is something going on, and it's not all good. And as much as we like to think that this is a nation of righteous people under God and praying to God every day, I don't think the Creator is really happy with any of our performances, whatever religions we belong to, and he's going to call a stop to it all with the flip here. So that's what's really coming down. And I wish my family would listen.
Now, you know what David said? He said he'd love to come on. He needs to find the time. But you know what? Thanks, Kevin. You know what? I wanted to ask you something. When you make a statement, you have made a statement that they should come can't say good or bad. Do you think the sanctuary city it's fair to taxpayers that money is supposed to be allocated in that region, in that location, to citizens in that community, to people that have come here illegally? Do you think that that's fair? Do you believe in sanctuary city? Let me tell you what sanctuary city is. Sanctuary city is when you move in, you come into the country illegally, and then you're able to get funds from the state to help you get about, but you're an illegal citizen. And I would like to ask you, Mr. Cost, do you think that that's fair to the people that live within that district, that are law-abiding, to their tax money should be allocated towards people that have illegally come into this country? Do you think that's fair?
Well, I would have to be one of those people in that city, and I would have to take a vote. And it's so easy to do that. Any day of the week, you can call for a vote and ask those people.
No, I'm talking about not those people. See, I'm being a reporter now, David. I'm asking from your perspective. From
my perspective, I would allow someone to come and sleep on my sofa for as long as they needed to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would feed them if they were hungry. And I would even give them a toothbrush so you brush your teeth. I would provide for people because I got plenty. I got plenty more than I need. I even got a clean white shirt on today. So if they had a clean shirt on for their whole lifetimes long, then maybe, I'd give whatever I could, but somebody pulls up in a brand new 550 Mercedes and rolls down his electric window and says, "Hey man, you got $100 I can get from you? I got to fill up my tank. I need some more gas."
Mm-hmm.
I say, "No, brother, you're gonna have to go find somewhere else. I'm still working to buy the car."
Okay, so. You got a question in the chat room, and they want to know, how is that fair? You should take time to clean your own house before you help somebody else. That's a good question.
That is a good point. Not everybody's got enough to feed everybody else. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's got a clean shirt on either. And I understand.
Well, he was referring to sanctuary city. That's what he was referring to.
Well, I've always understood that there's some people that can and some people that can't. Some people that are old and some people that are young. Some people that got it and some people that don't. So your questions are all legitimate, Clifton. But
no, that was from Kevin. That was Kevin on that. But go ahead.
I'm just saying your questions are all legitimate, just like Kevin's are. Mm-hmm. All these questions are all legitimate. Mm-hmm. But there's no one answer to any one question because it could be applied differently in different situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I think even with Joe Biden, U.S. President Joe Biden, the children are still living in something like not a tent city, like a little cage place, and they got little blankets that look like aluminum foil to keep them warm. How come the conditions of what's going on with the children that are coming from Central America have not been changed since Joe Biden and them got in office? And they said it was deplorable. Why have they not changed the conditions?
Well, this situation down in Texas with the immigrants is just one little tiny situation. But what it's supposed to do for all of the United States citizens is make them become aware that there's more than just this happening in Texas. It's happening in every city. It's happening in every area of the country. And it's been going on for a long time. There's children starving. There's people without clothes. They don't get a clean white shirt to wear. And this situation with our immigrants down there is just being magnified 1,000 times for everybody to see. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's happening. It's to bring us to a universal awareness of these problems. Everywhere is like this. Even the child trafficking has been going on for years over in Europe and Africa, and it comes to this country. This has been going on, and our Creator doesn't want it to continue. Clifton. He wants to show us what's really going on. So we just have to wake up. And it's not a question of whether the immigrants can come in or not, or whether there's enough food, or whether they're in tents, or the foil's keeping them warm or not. We just have to look at the whole situation and say, hey, they've got a lot more problems than just this one little place and this one little thing. We got a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you something, man. I want to go to Afghanistan. You say you just didn't want to concentrate on problems that are going on in the United States of America, even though Central America and Brazil, that's attached to the United States of America. But you want to talk about subject matter in a different hemisphere. And what about Afghanistan? Do you think that it was right for us to ever be in Afghanistan? And is it the right thing to withdraw from Afghanistan?
I believe that we were sent over to Afghanistan to guard the poppy crops and make sure the operations for the heroin and opium production were stepped up, which they were. 50 to 60%, I heard, over the last 20 years. Now, our involvement in Afghanistan was all from the Twin Towers dropping.
Yes.
But the Twin Towers were dropped as a diversion to get the public to believe in the Afghanistan involvement. But it was the main point was when the Pentagon got hit by that salvaged Kursk steel-tipped missile. This general sat up at the Pentagon because they knew a soft coup was taking place in that year. So that's what the whole event was about, was to announce the soft coup and to step up the heroin opium productions with our military involvement over there. Wasn't to go after bin Laden, wasn't to secure it from the Taliban, because the Taliban is just a military rogue, supposedly force, but they've controlled the poppy fields for all time, and they're just getting back control now, and they're gonna, when someone gets control of a like the oil or whatever, diamonds or whatever, they limit the supply so it'll drive the price up.
Yeah,
that's what the Taliban's going to do to the heroin and opium. They're going to drive the price up. By military involvement over there, it lowered the price and made it more easy to get for our country. That's why heroin has just infiltrated us the last 20 years, and everywhere now. In the shopping malls, the children are getting it. It's coming in pink little needles that don't even hurt you to stick it in your skin. So it's like, oh my God, this is what's happened to us.
So,
all from our military involvement.
So you're saying that the United States of America shouldn't have never been involved in that. But you know what? Besides the opium, poppy fields, do you feel that the United States went over there to take the natural resources of that country, because they had a oil pipeline that they wanted to construct, but they were not able to because the Taliban did not allow that to allow them to take the natural resources of their country? Do you think that that's an aspect that United States went over there out of fascism to take advantage of the country to get the natural resources and deposits of the country to export them? I'm saying the word wrong. Exploit them to use to their advantage.
I don't really feel the United States has a thinking capacity to do anything like that. I think the United States is used as a tool nowadays to go and route out, stamp out people and assassinate people and whatnot. But I loved what you just said, the United Snakes, because that's what our military is. They're the United Snakes of America. They go in and they kill and wipe out whatever country's leadership or whatever industry is against the Rothschild IMF banking system. So that's what our military was used to do, was to stamp out the Taliban there for 20 years, improve the heroin and opium production, and bring it to all countries of the world. So that's what we've done. And
Well,
we got the
but what about the pipeline that they attempted to construct from the Caspian Sea to the other locations?
like the pipeline up to Canada. You know, they just stop that. You know, they cut that just like they cut this one. So the pipelines are actually just, you know, like arteries for blood to your body. What happens when your left arm don't get no blood? It's gonna fall off you in a while. You know, everything's got to flow around the planet. Everybody's got to have enough of what they need to survive every day. And the powers that be have been cutting out or limiting this supply now. The gasoline prices are going up to $5. They're going to go up to 10. The food's going to get to be like triple the price in the stores. And a lot of these commodities that we've always had around aren't going to even be here anymore. So it's going to be a wake up, and it's going to happen in the next 6 months, and everyone's going to be shocked.
And you know what, man? It's like Afghanistan. Man, man, you know what? I got a video talking about Afghanistan. I like to share that with the people. You know, I want to share it. You know, I did a show talking about Afghanistan, and you know what? I thought it was interesting, and maybe the people want to see it, but the people might hate it. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. They need to see it. They need to see it.
Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna show you something about that. Something about Afghanistan? Okay. And David, I'm trying to set it up. David, I'm still learning.
We're all learning, Clifton. Even the people seeing this are learning.
We want to talk about something globally because there are people that are going to be looking at this globally. In Afghanistan, the United States are pulling troops out of Afghanistan. And some say the Taliban will take back over, which I think the Taliban, they kept opium from coming out of their country. But I would like to know, what is y'all reaction? How do y'all feel y'all ideas about the U.S. pulling out of Afghanistan?
Well, I think they've been there long enough for one thing. I don't know what it was that they initially hoped to accomplish and whatnot, except for their economical gains in being course. They've always had a secretive, ulterior motive in being in these places and whatnot, and most of it has been to either enrich themselves under the table, so to speak, behind closed doors or whatever. But I do know that whatever their motives are, that they put out front superficially and whatnot, that their real motives are somewhat hidden and disclosed and whatnot. And so they're more than one reason for being there.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a step in the right direction. And I really was suspicious of the administration, including the Obama and Biden administration, from sending more troops once Barack Obama was elected in November 2008. I was opposed to them sending troops there, period. And I have a real issue with the U.S. going into regions throughout the world that they can't, they basically, the U.S. feel that they're the global police of the world. They feel they can just do whatever they want, that the whole world is a global playground. And I have a real issue with that. And them going after the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, the U.S. created the Al-Qaeda, okay? They admitted it. I mean, you read the book books by John Pilger, Freedom Next Time. He talks about how certain agencies were responsible for the creation of Al-Qaeda.
Okay. And you know what? I'm not going to play the whole thing. But there are people that know that the CIA trained Al Qaeda actually when they were fighting the Soviet Union. But the Taliban turned on them. Why do you think they turned on? Why do you think they turned on them? Out of curiosity.
Well, while I was watching that video, Clifton, I saw that big white pipeline,
Uh-huh.
and I just thought to myself, that's why the United States pulled out of there, because of that pipeline, and the Taliban negotiated with the Rothschilds to leave that pipeline in place.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they'd blow it up. They'd blow it up and destroy it every time they fixed it and put it back in place again. So that's what's happened now to cause the United States to pull all of its forces out of Afghanistan after 20 years. Why were we there in the first place? That's the big question. And that's for, like I say, for the heroin opium production. But the fact is that I've read in the last 20 years that big barges bring in the chemicals that are used to process the poppies into opium and heroin, and these big barges are being brought from chemical companies in Europe, in Western Europe. So it's a big operation to refine these poppies and to produce the heroin and opium, then to transport it to the countries and to get paid, and all the money handling and everything. This has all been negotiated to back smooth again with the Afghan rebels, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. You got
just
a question.
Just for that pipeline.
Mm-hmm. You got a question in the chat room, brother. It says the Taliban was killing because they were going to tell how the U.S. was helping to collaborate maybe you could read the question better than me.
How the U.S. was helping to cultivate the poppy fields since Pat, as a pro NFL star, people would have been more likely to listen to his story rather than anyone else's, probably. So, yeah, a lot of this information is coming out. I mean, about the people that have been killed by the Clinton cartel is unbelievable. Over 125, 35 of them. But just recently, last night, I saw a blog about the president of Haiti, Governor Moyos, just was assassinated. The governor of Haiti, because he's going against our CIA assassination squad and trying to say what's really going on down there. So this is still going on every day. People are still getting knocked off, and it doesn't surprise me at all. What's happening, Clifton, is our Creator above, Allah or God, He's allowing us to see how bad it's gotten, and then we all get to make a choice of if we want it to keep getting worse or if we want to make it better. It's up to us. He's not going to do it for us. We can pray all we want, but God's not going to intervene unless we say, okay, we'll change our ways. If nobody will change their ways, God's not going to, he's just going to shake his head.
Okay. You know what, Matt? Before we continue on, how do they get to your YouTube page? How do they get to your Facebook page? What do they do?
All you got to do is enter David Kaas, Kaas, on the Facebook, but you go to YouTube, you just type in youtube.com/C as in Charlie /David L. Kaas.
Okay.
Okay. You go right to my web page on YouTube. But this information that you put out here today, Clifton, this is the best that we can do for anybody. We can just tell them the truth, and they'll listen, and more of them will come.
And they want you to share this. You got a question, David, Mr. David, in the control. You said controlling the poppy controls the Chinese supplies. I don't understand the question, but go ahead.
Well, the Chinese government is a communist government. It's being run by the few over the many. And they're using opium to control the populace. They use that as their tool to do that with. If you take if you take away a person's addiction, whether it be alcohol or heroin or cigarettes or whatever, then they can think. They can think for themselves, and they will not choose to do things in the wrong fashion again. But as long as you got them addicted and you keep feeding them whatever they're addicted to, they're going to have to get it from you, and they're going to say, okay, we'll do whatever you want. Just feed my addiction. Feed my addiction. So the Chinese government has all their people addicted, and the United States government, whether we know it or not, we're all fairly addicted to whatever we're doing. Sugar, alcohol, heroin, cocaine, you name it. Some people just addicted to gambling. They bet all the money they make every week away and waste it,
You know what, David? Something I would like to ask you. And you know what? You got so many people that are looking at your videos. Okay, you're going to approach 1 million views sooner or later, and you got so many people that are visiting your Facebook page. We know that the NSA, the National Security Department, they monitor broadcasts. We know this. Okay, you got so many people visiting your YouTube website and your website, your Facebook. Are you worried? Are you concerned about the NSA monitoring you, watching you? Or have they been watching you? I'm not going to talk for you, but go ahead. What is your opinion about the NSA? And then,
well, we both know that everybody in town is watching us, Clifton. But it's all good. It's all good because they're learning as well. I mean, the individuals that work for those organizations like the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, those individuals are all seeing and learning about the South-spun fluid concept. They're learning about what's really going on in Afghanistan. They're even learning about how the Pentagon generals knew that a soft coup was taking place when 9/11 happened, and everybody else was looking at the Twin Towers falling. So they're all learning, and I'm learning as well. There's things that I didn't know last week that I know this week. So as we go, we're going hand in hand spiritually, and we're all seeing what we've all done wrong. So I can forgive my wife. I can forgive my children. I can forgive everyone for whatever they've done wrong because they did it with the wrong ideas in mind. So I think forgiveness is first, and then justice is next.
So you are not worried about the NSA. You're not worried about the CIA. You're not worried about the FBI. You're not worried about that at all.
Not in the slightest. In fact, it just makes me kind of smile whenever someone mentions that because it's like, well, they haven't got us yet, so we're batting hundreds still. They haven't sunk our ship. So what do we got to worry about? We're almost through it. We're almost through this, Clifton.
Okay,
we're closer now than we were 10 years ago.
I understand what you're saying. So you don't think about it one way. You don't think about it one way or the other.
Well, I used to consider it 10, 12 years ago. But as the times went by and we've gotten older and a little smarter, I just chuckle about it now.
But you're being watched though, brother, right?
Of course. In fact, they're starting to wonder if maybe we're going to be coming for them one of these days instead of us wondering whether they're going to come for us one of these days.
It ain't going to be me. It's going to be me. All praises to Allah. It ain't going to be me.
It ain't going to be me either.
I don't want no trouble, but you know what? I'm going to speak the truth that I know to the best of my ability. So you know what, man? So, the news, I'm trying to think, man, there are a lot of floods that are going on right now, and there are a lot of fires that are going on in different regions, not just in the United States of America, but around the world. Would you like to expand on it? Is there a warning?
Oh yeah, I sent you that clip off the
I saw
news
it.
channel just
Not
this
after.
morning. Yeah, there's floods in India. There's holes opening up and sucking in houses, and small towns are disappearing. And besides that, there's raging fires across not just in this country, but I mean across the world. Burning up beaches and everywhere. This is not being reported on anymore, and they're not talking about we had just a blip on the locust plagues over in the Middle East this last summer, but it's getting bad. It's getting so bad that the food crops have not been harvested, and they will not be harvested this fall. So we're not going to have anything to eat or
That's
to
kind of
feed
hard to believe. You say zero.
zero.
No,
Well, if you're going to have a passing over of 12 planets and you're going to have a 70-degree rotation that washes away 80% of your fuel refineries, you're going to have some trouble moving food around if you got it.
Wait a minute now. As a journalist, I gotta ask you that when you say there will be zero food out of 100%, that's kind of hard to believe because you know what? I could believe that it's going to be scarce, but you know what? I can't believe it's going to be zero. Explain it to me.
Well, it's like ancient Egypt. When Joseph told the Pharaoh, "You better store up your grain for 7 years because there's going to be a drought. There's not going to be any food.
Okay.
People are going to be coming from all around to buy your grain from you if you store it up now."
Now you go to the Bible, it ain't much I can. I can't say nothing.
Well, that's why I give that as an example.
I can't say nothing.
Because this is the same thing happening now. I'm the messenger, and I'm trying to tell the people we're doing it on the internet, but it's the same thing.
Allegoric. You got a mess. You got a message from Kevin. This fall just in time to lock down and see how it's all planned for the folks. That's a question. Can you read it? I got to change the red to another color. Can you read it? So you got
this fall is just in time for the next lockdown. Well, the next lockdown is just planned like the fourth lockdown will be. It's to strangle the population and to kill us off. The old folks are dying first in the hospitals. Then the less healthy ones will get it, and the second wave is just the second wave. There's a third, a fourth, a fifth wave. This whole COVID-19
we can't even talk about that. Go ahead.
This whole thing's been planned out by the gray greens for a long time.
We can't even talk about that. Okay.
Well,
YouTube said no.
It's okay. But funny thing about it, Clifton, is the gray greens aren't even humans. Why should they care what we say about them? They're like big smart insects.
I don't know why. I don't know why YouTube. I mean, there's man. There's certain things. I don't know why. There's certain things they want you to talk about on YouTube, and certain things they don't. They say you aren't being friendly, and
right.
Man, I mean,
well, what it is I think it's the AI, the artificial intelligence, doesn't like us poking a finger at those little things that might, cause them some disturbance within their field of existence. But we're not really doing that. We're just sharing the truth with everybody, and that's what everybody wants to hear is the truth. They're getting tired of hearing the same old thing.
You know what's funny, man? On Facebook, you can put up down anything, but on YouTube, you just can't do it. And you know what, man? Some people were saying, how come they won't come up with a YouTube that's similar to Facebook, where you could put up and really talk about your thoughts and how you feel about things, whether you agree with society you have opinion or view that's totally contrary. How come they don't come up with something like that out of curiosity?
Well, we were talking the other day, how Skype was one of the first online networks that you could have two people talking at. And then they got like all these different online hookup sites. Now Zoom is the best one yet. I like it the best because it's the easiest and to put up your shows on. So it takes a while for things to develop. The YouTube has expanded and gotten so huge that it's being replaced by like the Gab site, and different sites are replacing Facebook as well. But they're startups, so it could take a while to get to be the same size as the YouTube is, or get to be the same size that Facebook is. But as time goes on, developments, everything changes.
And I love YouTube for the
YouTube.
for the algorithms out there. I love YouTube.
I do. I just wish the government would buy YouTube and make it a beautiful thing again. What it could be, the government should just purchase it and make it free. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, you know what? It is free, but you know what? There's just certain things that you hamstrung to say certain things, but in all fairness, it is their platform, and they have a right. They have a right to sanction, but
it's
I
the
think,
way
I think they need to come up with a YouTube with individuals that have alternative viewpoints.
right. You could have channels for alternative opinions on the YouTube, so you could have it sectioned off. If you don't want to go view these opinions, you don't have to.
Yeah. Then that is something. And you know what? There's probably somebody working on that as we're talking, because I think just because your opinion is different. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. Now, I went to the military. I was in the military. I think that a KKK member has a right to express himself. I think that a skinhead has a right to express himself.
Yeah,
I think so.
You got to get it out of the person before you can put the new stuff in.
Just as much as a black Muslim should be able to express themselves, but not to the point to where they tell somebody to go out there and kill somebody. Now, I don't think that's acceptable. What's your opinion?
Well, when we go to war with another country, when we go to war with China, that's declared war against us, is it right to shoot a Chinese soldier?
If China like what they did in Hawaii and made a surprise attack, that would be considered acceptable under those circumstances.
Yeah, it's the circumstances. It's the circumstances. If anybody comes up and tries to harm my child, I will do whatever is necessary to protect him.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, you know what? Like I said, it's their platform, YouTube's platform. But like I said, they ought to make an alternative platform where people, like I say, black nationalists, Nation of Islam, KKK, they ought to be able to have, like you say, certain sections. And you know what? This is a warning. This is what they're going to be told. This is what we're going to talk about. And if you agree with it, I think they should. But like I said, I don't have the type of capital to put something together like this.
Well, you know what it is, Clifton? It's just we have to move our attention to what's pertinent off of what doesn't matter anymore. Like the COVID-19, everybody knows that's a bunch of bull hockey. And they're trying to do a second lockdown out here in Los Angeles. And people still walk around with no masks on. And they got kind of the look in their eye like, I don't give a diddly do about this.
What's going on in Chicago, man? I mean, but you said something in California. There's a lot of homeless that are being removed or something like that. What did you say? You wanted to say something about the homeless.
Well, this last Saturday was ground zero for the homeless here on Venice Beach in Santa Monica, like for 5 miles out here on the coast. And they just removed them all. They put them in hotels. They're paying for the hotels for the homeless now. And the ones that wouldn't take hotels, they moved them a mile inland. So they're off the boardwalk. So the problem was there was no tourist trade out here any longer. And this was the second largest tourist area in Los Angeles besides Disneyland for tourists to come out to every summer. So they're losing billions of dollars in tourist trade and whatnot. So the city just figured we got to get rid of the homeless. We're going to do it now, move them. So I don't know how much it costs in Los Angeles to actually house, clothe, and feed all these homeless people in hotels, but it's another big Band-Aid to a problem that's not going away. Because we got homeless people arriving on the Greyhound bus here every day from all 50 states, just come out here to enjoy themselves. So
I mean, like in Chicago, man, we have homeless people all over, man, living up underneath Wacker Drive. Wacker Drive is like underground.
Right.
Okay. And you got groups of people. I'm told there's people that live in the sewer. I'm talking about in certain isolated areas. I can't prove that. That's what I'm told. But at some point, they're going to head those people to the FEMA camps that are set up.
That's the next phase here. The FEMA camps are going to be opening. All 50 states have got a number of them in each state, and they're all on railroad tracks, all surrounded by high barbed wire. And they also got them big black tubs at them now. They'll carry 5 bodies each. So they've got it all planned out. It's all ready to go. It's just they're waiting on a few last minute things. But what's really surprised me this last week, Clifton, was I've been hearing reports where the deep underground military bases have been dynamited and are being destroyed in certain parts of the country. And because of water seeping into them and drowning the occupants down there and whatnot. So they're dynamiting them and destroying them. And that's some underground stuff going on that I don't even know where it's happening exactly and what's going on, but there's big things happening beneath our feet right now.
Let me ask you something. When we talk about the FEMA camps already being set up already, do you think that's a possibility while they are withdrawing troops from overseas to bring them back to the United States to prepare for possibly something like that to happen, where they could monitor and put the people in the FEMA camps? Is that a possibility?
Well, they know that there's going to be some revolts over here, and they know the people have guns. So they're bringing the military back here at the moment, and they're going to station them all around, like I say, the parts of the country where the problems are occurring at. But also our government, the high ups, realize that with the 70-degree flip in just 5 months, they're not going to have to worry about the coastal areas. So the military is going to be inland and around the necessary oil refineries and electrical plants. And the real stuff that keeps the government running and operating, that's what the military is going to be guarding. But the FEMA camps are all ready to go, and they're just ready to take occupants now. I'm actually surprised that the homeless aren't at the FEMA camps, but they don't want the homeless to be raising children for the gray greens, so they're not going to put them at the FEMA camp.
But that's going to come anyway. You got a question in the chat room, and I'm going to read it, and they'll let you read it. Say, yes, no one will escape the wealth of the Most High. And it said nobody can escape the wealth of the Most High.
Yep, not even the underground bases.
What's your opinion?
Well, the underground bases are the last place I would want to be. coming up. I mean, it's been billions have been spent, trillions probably, on all those bases and underground tunnel systems and maglev trains and whatnot. But that's the last place to go right now. The best place to go is get food, get water for 120 days, and if you can, get out of the cities, because that's not a safe place to be.
So are you saying? I want to see if I'm misinterpreting what you're saying. You say, is it a possibility that they're bringing these troops back from abroad because they feel that the United States is getting ready to collapse? Is that economically? Do they feel? Is that a possibility?
They know that the United States is going to collapse economically. They're going to make it collapse economically, but that's why they're bringing the troops home, is to guard the resistance, to kill off the resistance, in fact, that does not do what they say has to be done.
They don't take the
Joe
market.
But yeah, whatever Joe Biden says goes, or else you go. That's the way it's going to be.
So what you're saying is Joe Biden is really no better than Donald Trump. He just gives commands in a softer overtone. Is that what you're saying? He's still controlled. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that Joe Biden is put in place by a group that wishes to control all of us. Donald Trump was the same as Joe Biden is now. Donald Trump was put there by the Patriots, the generals at the Pentagon, to run the show for them. But the Patriots at the Pentagon aren't running the show anymore. The Rothschilds are, from the IMF banking system. And that's why everything's going to hell in a handbag and going down rather than back up again.
So you're saying that we're getting the same thing, but the rhetoric is in a softer tone verbally. Is that what you're
right?
saying?
The rhetoric is causing the opposite to happen, but the creator is still in control of it all, and he's allowing us to see how it don't matter who's in control. It can go up or down or in or out, but he's got the final say. So that's what everybody's got to realize. You know, whether you're a Buddhist or you believe in Confucius, or you're a Jew or a Catholic, or whatever you want to believe in, you got to realize that it's time to drop all these things we thought were the way we want to do things, and just we got to follow the 7 Mosaic feast days out of the Old Testament. That's what the primal creator has got me here to tell you today. I was raised Catholic. I didn't know this before. I wasn't doing this all my life. So, but I accepted it, and I said, okay, I'll do this. And now I am.
Now, it's something you said about the military troops abroad will be coming back to the United States of America. That, I guess they're setting the atmosphere right now, because in Chicago, the aldermen are state elected officials. Okay. They're advocating that the National Guards come to Chicago. So I guess when they're advocating that, in a sense, they're advocating something like an almost martial law because of the criminal activity. So you said they're setting the stage for martial law. Is that what you're saying? Or am I misinterpreting?
Well, all of our elected officials were all elected using Diebold systems, which we know now are corrupt. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Okay. So all of our elected officials are all actually appointed officials by the inside group. They got into office on a scam. They scammed us all. Every election, whether it's local, city, state, or national election, it's been scammed. We've been all scammed on. So all of our elected officials, they're not elected. They're appointed by the inside group. And that's what the problem is. That's where our decision-making comes from. So if we can't trust our leaders, if we can't trust our elected officials to do for us what we thought we elected them to do, we've been all scammed on.
So they are controlled.
They are controlled, and they are controlling you and me now.
Man, you scaring me, man, because
it don't feel right. It don't feel right.
Damn, I don't know what you're going to come up with next week. Damn.
But what we're coming up with is some reasons to change, reasons to make this change, and we're just highlighting the reasons that we see. There's other reasons that other people see, and we don't even know about.
So you know what? We're gonna close, but you know what, David? Is there any finishing words? But let me say, Mr. David would be glad to. Mr. David would be glad to come on your show. And I don't know what happened, but he would be glad to come on your show. And what happened is we're going to go out playing Mr. David, and then we will call it quits.
The Bureau system totally 12 planets.
To David Koss. But let me put out my little plug now. You know what? You're looking at the Underground Railroad television show, and you know what? This is not Fox Television. This is not CNN News. And you know what? And if you like this broadcast, share it. Press the button. Look at my finger that need to be clipped. Share. Press like. And plus, if you need video production done in Chicago, United States, give Shay My Media Productions a telephone call and visit our website. And if you want to make a donation, because you know what? This show, hey, you have not because you ask not. I guess someone say that every week.
Well, that's the only way things can grow bigger is
okay.
A little love.
Make a donation to my PayPal account, and you know what? And you gotta have David on your show. You gotta have him. You got to go to his. He's getting You know what? You getting close to 1 million people on YouTube looking at your website. So, Brother David, do you have any message that you would like to give to the people? And then I gotta go.
I would like to tell all the people.
We can barely hear you. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. All the people, it's going to be all right real soon. Just take care of yourselves, take care of your children, take care of your parents, get food and water, and it's all going to be good. We're going to make it, and it's almost here. Thank you.
How do they go? How do they get to your YouTube website, your Facebook? How do they get there?
Just go to my Facebook. Go to David Koss, Kaas. Go to youtube.com/C/David L. Koss. Or you can stuff me an email at KossDavid4. But this is the very best place. Clifton Bradley is the very best man to listen to. And if you need any editing, any production, go to Shamar and you be on TV.
Should they make a donation?
Of course, you got to donate. You gotta water the plant before it'll grow. This is only the seed. This is only the seed, Clifton. We're offering the best, but they gotta do a little gardening too, you know.
Okay, brother. And you know what, may Allah bless everybody. And I always gotta greet people in the words of Assalamu alaikum, because for people that don't even know what Assalamu alaikum means, I'm not saying nothing bad or evil. I'm saying let peace and blessings be upon you. Okay. And like I say, it was a honor to have Mr. Koss, David Koss on. And I am encouraging people to go to his YouTube website. Go to his Facebook website. Hell, look at this video on my website. You know, but you not only that, you got to have him on your show as a guest. You got to. If you have a YouTube website, you have a blog, anything like that, you got to have him on. Right?
We'll do it. We'll do it. We're going to make it happen.
All right. Well, brother, I got to get on off. And the interplanetary people are calling me, and I got to go, brother. All right.
Thank you, Clifton.
You know, my mama somebody used to say, I don't know where you going, but you getting the hell out of here. I got to get out of here.
Great day.
All right, brother. Allah bless you. Take care.